Tonight, long weekend travel plans thrown into chaos after a surprise strike by WestJet mechanics.
I've been here from about 6 o'clock, and I'm waiting for a standby flight.
Tens of thousands left scrambling.
This is a mess. This is not how labor relations and negotiations should be taking place.
The confusion and the growing anger at airports. Plus, France's far right in the lead after the first round of parliamentary elections.
La démocratie a parlé.
What could happen next? And in the U.S., prominent Democrats defend their president.
The president had a difficult night, just like every single one of us do.
The pressure for him to bow out and the pushback.
From CBC News, this is The National with Ian Henemansing.
We are live on The National at 10 o'clock Pacific time, and we begin with the chaotic start to the summer travel season. Tonight, the number of WestJet flight cancellations is growing. As of right now, more than 800 flights have been canceled since the strike began Friday, and the toll on passengers is growing, with reports of nearly 100,000 people affected so far. Sam Sampson starts our coverage tonight with the latest on the strike, what we know about talks between the union and the airline, and where all of that has left passengers.
At this point, Vikalo Niadi's just keeping his pent-up emotions in check.
Right now, I'm holding everything back just so I can go through this. I can't let that out just yet.
On vacation in Edmonton, canceled flights means he's struggling to get home to Prince George, BC.
I have a buddy who is in PG, and he said he's willing to drive 8 hours here, so I might do that if he's still up to doing that.
With more than 800 flights canceled, tens of thousands of WestJet passengers are stuck searching for a way through this Canada Day-long weekend travel mess. The strike caught almost everyone by surprise. Federal Labor Minister Seamus O'Regan asked the Canada Industrial Relations Board to impose binding arbitration on Thursday. That typically avoids job action, but the union went on strike anyway, a move permitted by the CIRB.
I feel like the union is using us as hostages, as a pawn, as a negotiating tool for the airlines.
The federal labor minister said he does not agree with the board's decision to allow a strike during binding arbitration, and he's asked the two parties to work together.
The right to strike, the right to lock out is a constitutional right. The question then is, does the minister even have the right to prevent them from going on strike? And the answer is probably not.
Still, WestJet says it's waiting to hear from Ottawa to see if a strike can continue during binding arbitration.
So this is a very destructive thing, basically done by a rogue U.S. union that's trying to make inroads into Canada.
These striking workers say the planes that are still flying will need mechanics support sooner rather than later.
We're already down to maybe 30 airplanes, which is a tiny fraction of what we normally operate, and those airplanes are going to time expire too if they don't get proper maintenance.
What do you mean expire?
Like the checks that are scheduled are going to be like overdue, and then those planes will have to be grounded until those checks are carried out.
Sam, there are a lot of people who have WestJet flights booked. They're wondering what might happen. What are you hearing about where the talks are tonight?
Well, both sides are keeping pretty tight-lipped as of right now. We do know that both the airline and the union are working through mediators. That's according to a statement on the union's website. But as far as negotiations and any progress, it's still unclear at this point. We do know, though, that this whole conversation is getting even more politically charged. Both Alberta and Saskatchewan's premiers are calling on Ottawa to make sure that work continues during binding arbitration. So both of them say the federal government needs to step in and end this strike.
Okay, we'll keep watching this. Sam Sampson in Edmonton. And speaking of watching this, we are live here in the Pacific time zone, as I mentioned, and we'll be going back to Sam in our Edmonton newsroom in just a moment because there has been a major development in this. This strike has caused travel headaches throughout the long weekend, and Nicole Williams now with what you need to know if you've been caught in the chaos.
At airports across the country, canceled flights and growing frustration.
I've been here from about 6 o'clock. And I'm waiting for a standby flight, but they don't seem to get an answer.
Tens of thousands of customers caught in travel limbo.
I was waiting over the phone all day yesterday, 2 hours at a time, and then it would just kind of hang up on me.
This man had just dropped off his brother's family at the airport for a long-awaited trip to the Philippines.
And both of their flights just got canceled, but their Philippine flights are with a different airline. So they're not able to get anything done about that because it's right now their flight just got canceled, so now they're stuck here.
Experts say the strike's timing is no coincidence, with an estimated 250,000 Canadians flying this holiday weekend. And for customers with canceled flights trying to rebook now, not easy.
They're up against a brick wall, literally speaking. For one, getting through to the airline is difficult. Two, when you do get through, you may be told, we'll call you back or we can't take your call.
Still, Canadian regulations say if canceled flights are within an airline's control, it's on them to find another way to get you to your destination. Experts warn rebooking with another airline on your own and expecting WestJet to pay the bill could be risky.
If you do it yourself, you may have to go make a claim against them. That's probably going to take a long time and may be turned down.
Experts say customers should also avoid accepting refunds for canceled flights. That absolves airlines from any other incurred costs associated with your trip, like a prolonged hotel stay. And if you can hold on until you reach an agent, you have a better shot of getting full compensation. Nicole Williams, CBC News, Ottawa.
Okay, this story moving very quickly tonight, and we do have breaking news for you on the WestJet strike. After this weekend of disruption, the hundreds of flights canceled. News tonight of a major breakthrough. Let's bring in Sam Sampson, who's now live in our Edmonton newsroom at 10:06 Pacific time, 11:06 Mountain. And Sam, what are you hearing?
We're hearing that as about 9:30 Mountain Time, so Alberta time. The AMFA, so the Aircraft Mechanics Fraternal Association, and WestJet have come to an agreement, and that is just breaking news. We just got that moments ago, so I've got my notes here. Bear with me. Essentially, they came to the table for the first time since June 27th. This is huge news. This means that the workers will go back to work immediately. WestJet, they definitely had according to their statement on their website, just said that the damage to Canadians and our airline is massive. A swift resolution was necessary. Here's the thing, we didn't know if this was going to happen because the federal labor minister asked the Canada Industrial Relations Board to impose binding arbitration, but that did not prohibit the union from striking, and so they striked anyway. And so then we were in uncharted territory. Looks like, according to WestJet, this statement, the two parties came to an agreement through mediation.
So this statement coming out just a short while ago, Sam, that the WestJet strike is over. Do we have a sense now, and I know you're literally reading the statement as you're live on the air, but do we have a sense now as to when all flights will be resumed? Because, of course, there have been lots of cancellations and some cancellations that affect flights in the future.
Well, it's a great question because as much as staff are returning back to work, it says that with today's news, the airline will begin to work to restore operations in a safe and timely manner. What that means, we do not know. We know that they had to park 130 aircraft at 13 airports across Canada, so we don't know when regular service will resume.
Okay, so the bottom line is at this hour, after 10 o'clock Pacific time, after 11 o'clock Mountain time, the WestJet engineers strike is over, that we now will pay attention to whatever further updates there are from WestJet in terms of when full service will be restored. Sam Sampson live in Edmonton for us tonight. Thank you. Another potential strike that could cause major disruption this summer. Workers with Canada's two major railways, CN and Canadian Pacific Kansas City, CPKC, have voted to reauthorize strike action if agreements can't be reached. The union says it wants to return to the bargaining table. Among the issues are crew schedules and work hours. A spokesperson for CPKC says it's unlikely a strike or lockout would happen before mid-July. Well, turning to France tonight, far-right politicians are on the verge of taking power. Marine Le Pen's national rally has taken the lead in the first round of parliamentary elections. But as Chris Brown explains, with another round of voting to come, there's still uncertainty about what the government will look like.
France's far right hasn't been this close to power since the Second World War.
La démocratie a parlé.
Democracy has spoken, said Marine Le Pen, who toiled for decades to move her party from the political fringes to now the cusp of power after the first round of parliamentary elections.
Cette décision est grave, lourde.
Calling a snap election was an immense gamble for President Emmanuel Macron. His centrist party Renaissance was trounced in recent European elections by the far right, but Macron bet voters would balk at the prospect of the Rassemblement National actually forming a government in France. From the start, though, polls suggested the RN and its youthful leader Jordan Bardella were out in front.
Notre volonté est de rassembler tous les Français.
Our desire is to unite French people, Bardella said, as his party released a platform heavy on tax cuts and anti-immigrant messaging. Parties on France's left mobilized as well, joining forces and holding rallies to try to block the RN from winning a majority. It was Macron's party in the political center that appeared to be getting squeezed out.
Le racisme ou l'antisémitisme désinhibé.
After the final leaders' debate, Macron invoked the specter of what he said would be racism, uninhibited anti-Semitism, and a profound betrayal of French values should the RN win the most seats in Parliament. Even as the ballots were still being counted, though, the maneuvering started for next week's final vote.
Au Rassemblement
With Gabriel Attal, France's current prime minister, urging a broad alliance against the Rassemblement National, and Bardella urging supporters to keep the party's momentum going. Across France, there were protests ushering in what may be the start of an unprecedented cohabitation period in French politics, involving a prime minister and a president on political extremes. Chris Brown, CBC News, London.
To the U.S. now, where efforts are underway tonight to turn around Joe Biden's re-election campaign. Prominent supporters are pushing back against calls for Biden to step aside after that shaky debate performance. Meanwhile, supporters of Donald Trump are dismissing questions about the false claims he made during that debate. Katie Simpson has more from Washington.
Joe Biden is taking some downtime with his family. A long-planned get-together with his wife and grandkids that has reportedly become a moment for candid discussions about his future. After his unsteady debate performance, Biden's allies are trying to buy him time for hard conversations by urging Democrats to remain calm.
I do not believe that Joe Biden has a problem leading.
The president had a difficult night, just like every single one of us do.
Again, it was a bad night. Let's move on from that.
While no sitting Democrats are publicly calling for Biden to step aside yet, there are reports lawmakers are having blunt talks about the party's future. Biden's team is fighting back with attacks on his opponent by calling Donald Trump a liar.
Do they think that he has the integrity to be president after that performance?
Trump made roughly 30 false claims in the debate. There were lies about voter fraud in January 6th and false statements about abortion and the economy. Trump's relationship with the truth appears to be no problem for his potential running mates.
I mean, everything that he said on Thursday night, he's been saying before. I mean, so this isn't.
But this is not manufactured.
This is not news.
There was an incredible contrast between Donald Trump's energy and command of the facts and Joe Biden's obvious inability to do the job as president.
Trump returned to the campaign trail energized, his supporters appearing confident that Biden's chances are now greatly diminished.
He's not a good president. He's a decent man. He's a failed president. He is compromised. That's the storyline here.
And Katie, what more do we know about the advice Biden is getting from his family?
Well, when it comes to big decisions, Joe Biden listens to his wife, Jill. In late 2022, Biden decided he would seek re-election only after she gave the green light to go. According to reports, Biden's family is urging him to stay in this race, even though they know how damaging the debate has been. Biden and his inner circle are trying to determine the best way out of this mess and how exactly they're going to change his image to demonstrate that he does have the stamina and capacity to lead. Biden's re-election campaign team, for its part, has not signaled anything is changing. They're framing this as a moment to recover from, doing what they can to reassure voters and donors.
Katie Simpson in Washington. In Switzerland tonight, at least 4 people are dead and 2 are missing after severe flooding there and in northern Italy. Days of heavy rain have led to surging waterways, like this one near the Italian city of Turin. A family with a 3-month-old baby had to be rescued from their car, stranded in an overflowing river. Around 200 people were evacuated from one town. And there are urgent preparations in the Caribbean underway as people brace for a storm that has already made history. Hurricane Beryl is the first Category 4 storm to take shape this early in the Atlantic season. Hurricane warnings are in effect in Barbados, St. Lucia, Grenada, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Boat clubs that make the hobby more affordable are surging in popularity, but there's also an added risk.
Nothing like life-threatening yet, but it's just a matter of time.
What it takes to become a member and why that process is causing concern. Plus,
Andre DeGrasse is your 2024 champion.
Canada's track team is making its final push before the Summer Olympics.
We have really high expectations for sure.
The big names looking to land on the podium. And pushing the boundaries of endurance swimming.
This is what happens when you swim for 60 hours. Yeah.
We're back in tune. Thousands gathered in downtown Toronto today for the city's annual Pride Parade. People flooding the streets, waving rainbow flags and pom-poms. The parade featured several newcomers to Canada, celebrating their first Pride events since arriving in the city. Midway through the parade, though, the decision was made to cancel the rest of the event due to a protest against the war in Gaza. A Halifax man known as a trailblazer in the cross-dressing community has died. Harold Anderson wore women's clothing in public back when it generally wasn't accepted. As Kayla Hounsell explains, he wanted to inspire others to just be themselves.
I'm not trying to be a woman. I just am a male who likes feminine clothing.
Harold Anderson bought his first pair of women's shoes in 1958. He would head out at night, sporting the shoes under the cover of darkness in downtown Halifax.
There's an awful lot of people who accept me as I am because they're so used to it.
It became the talk of the town. Some were surprised, others less kind.
There's always a threat to my welfare.
It wasn't until 1967 when Pierre Elliott Trudeau famously declared,
"There's no place for the state in the bedrooms of the nation,"
that Anderson decided to write to the Premier of Nova Scotia asking if it was okay for him to wear women's clothing in public.
The Premier wrote back and said, "You are more than welcome. It's nice to have the letter we have," saying to him, "Go for it. Be yourself."
That I'm liberated from being a prisoner of my gender.
His family says he wasn't gay.
A lot of people say, "Oh, he liked boys." No, he was crazy about girls.
Yeah. He loved music, hockey, baseball, and going for drives in classic cars.
He had no ego around being, special or a pioneer.
Lisa Cochran knew him best and says he lived a mostly solitary life.
He liked to walk about and have chance encounters with people, be complimented. Usually the encounters were positive, particularly in the later years.
Anderson had a stroke 3 weeks ago and never recovered. He was 86 and even in his final days wanted to wear his heels.
Put his great big stilettos on him and cover them up with a sheet in his hospital bed. But he had a smile on his face knowing he had them on.
His family says he stepped out at a time when many could not and hoped to inspire others to be themselves. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, Halifax.
Subscription services for boat rentals in Canada are becoming more common, giving people who can't afford to buy a boat the chance to get on the water. But as Philip Lee Shannock explains, with this wave of new boaters in busy working harbors, some experts worry the training isn't tough enough.
It's a view of Canada's most populous city that more may get a chance to experience. Here and in harbors across the country, more outfits are offering affordable boating.
Just escape the hustle and bustle, go out on the water, go for a swim, do some fishing, do some water sports, or just go for a cruise and enjoy the freedom of boating.
Freedom Boat Club works like Netflix. Members pay a monthly subscription to access a fleet of brand new boats. No insurance, maintenance, or registration. It's all covered except gas. Another low barrier, training. Transport Canada only requires a Pleasure Craft operator's card to drive most boats. It costs $20. Classes and testing are online.
You can take the test as many times as you need to.
The exam on boating terminology, regulations, lights, and signage is open book and unsupervised.
In order to obtain it, there is no in-person or actual boating component to that requirement.
So this boating safety expert says practical training is essential.
You don't have any previous experience, but yet as long as you read through the regulations and understand them and show through a written test that you understand them, that's good enough for us.
Some are worried about a wave of inexperienced boaters in a busy working harbor like Toronto's.
We've seen some kind of scary looking situations here, even at the dock, just little bumps and bruises and the poor engines on the boats taking some abuse, but nothing like life-threatening yet, but it's just a matter of time.
Boat clubs like Freedom do offer unlimited lessons for members. So does Skippery, which monitors members electronically and will warn them about restricted areas and speed limits.
80% of our members are brand new to boating at Skippery, so it's a very comprehensive onboarding structure, and once you're out there on your own, then the technology really supports everything you do.
In a statement to CBC News, Transport Canada says due to the diverse range of waterways and types of pleasure craft, imposing more rigorous requirements under a one-size-fits-all approach would not be effective. Philip Shannock, CBC News, Toronto.
Canada's track and field team is peaking just in time for the Summer Olympics.
Leduc pulling away, and Audrey Leduc is the Canadian champion.
The athletes looking to book their ticket to Paris. Plus, from star singers to comedic juggernauts and this country's standout athletes. A look back at my recent conversations with some of Canada's top talent. The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next. Heavy rain didn't stop this parade. The Florida Panthers celebrating the club's first Stanley Cup along the beach in Fort Lauderdale. It comes about a week after their win over the Edmonton Oilers, taking Game 7 after losing 3 straight. In Toronto today, Canada's men's national basketball team continued training camp ahead of the Summer Olympics. Up next, the team will take on the U.S. in an exhibition game in Las Vegas before traveling to Paris. It's the first time in more than 2 decades the team will compete in the Olympics. And the country's top track and field athletes secured their spots on Team Canada after trials this week. This is the last major Canadian sports event before Paris next month. And as Sarah Levitt shows us, Olympic excitement is building.
The coveted prop, an oversized plane ticket, signaling the best of Canada's track and field athletes heading to the Paris Olympics and Paralympics. The Canadian trials, their last test.
Andre DeGrasse is your 2024 champion.
For some, it's a chance to defend their record. It'll be a 3rd Olympic showing for sprinter Andre DeGrasse.
I'm working hard. I'm training. Training's been going good. I'm healthy, so I'm feeling pretty confident and pretty good.
And those going for the first time.
Audrey Leduc is the Canadian champion.
The 22-year-old broke the Canadian record in both the 100 and 200-meter races. In the 400, Christopher Morales-Williams lived up to his reputation, but says he still feels like a kid.
It's just like completely surreal, you know. I mean, it's like I'm able to take it in now, but it's still just awesome to be like this actually happening. It's not just a dream, you know.
On the field, there's world champion hammer thrower Cameron Rogers.
This sport literally owes me nothing, but I owe the sport everything. So I feel like I try to find the joy in every single moment of it throughout the way.
Para-athlete Greg Stewart didn't think he would be back to defend his shot put gold from the last Olympics.
You retired.
Yes.
What pulled you back in?
The story is I love what I'm doing.
and that's the reality. I love throwing a shot. I love being able to give back to my sport and give back to the community.
The feeling is this is a stacked team for Canada.
The current crop of athletes that we have right now, so much depth. Track and field can be very unforgiving. We're talking about milliseconds and centimeters, but we have really high expectations for sure.
In Tokyo, the team won 2 gold, 2 silver, and 2 bronze medals. This year's qualifying athletes say anything less in Paris just won't do. Sarah Levitt, CBC News, Montreal.
Now we go deeper into the stories shaping our world. On this Canada Day weekend, inspiring words from some exceptional Canadians.
We actually started writing a script when we were 13 or 14 years old.
From a creative force in films to an Olympic contender in an emerging sport.
My brothers went to school, and then I'm the one that kind of goes and wants to be a breakdancer.
I've spoken with so many people who have done this country proud by achieving big things on their own terms.
I played so many different sports, but I loved a dress. I loved playing with dolls.
So we put together some of their insights and special memories for a taste of how so many Canadians work and play with the best in the world.
We got this piano, and I'd never learned to play the piano. I'd never learned the theory of music. I wrote music. I would write in my head and sit with it, dictating it onto even my charts. Even when people hear "Feeling Good" and they hear those horn things, that was me and David Foster, me singing out the strings, singing out the parts. So we bought this piano because my dad is frugal, and it was a affordable piano.
Mm-hmm.
But the magic thing was that it had a player. So at Christmas, we could plug it in, and it would play Christmas music. And we could sing to Christmas songs and stuff like that. That was really what happened. And then...
not cheesy at all.
Not cheesy at all, no. And then what happened is, I didn't know this, but if you take a piano like this, and you take a mind like mine, and you add alcohol and other things, it is incredible, the creative juices that start flowing. And I would sit down, I've no joke. I mean, this sounds cheesy, but I have laughed over this piano. I have celebrated over this piano. I've cried my head off. I wrote a song called "Forever Now." I love you forever now on this piano, thinking about my kids, and I've been absolutely shit-faced writing "It's a Beautiful Day."
When you said goodbye, my
So this piano's it's weird because it's been a massive part of my life, my history, my discography. And now what's really cool is this is the first time I've ever done this and talked about it like this, but that my babies have lessons from Leon Feldman, every Tuesday and Thursday, and say, we hate it, we don't want to do the lessons, but then sit for hours and hours to show me how amazing their rendition of Spider-Man is. It's one of those really full circle, really cool, it's such a cool thing.
One of the interesting things about kind of the public persona you have is that on the one hand you play this sport that's rough and tumble and aggressive and there's body checking in this league. But at the same time, you're not afraid to embrace this, can I say, kind of very sort of feminine image on Instagram, for example? How do you balance that? What kind of image are you hoping to portray?
Yeah, I've always struggled with this because as a child, again, I played so many different sports, but I loved a dress. I loved playing with dolls. And so there was one time I walked into my hockey game at 7 years old with a dress on and my hockey stick slung over my shoulder. And that's just me. That's how I've always been. And so I want to be the person that 7-year-old Sarah could look up to and be like, oh my gosh, I could be like her. Because I didn't have anybody to look up to in that lens. Playing sports, playing hockey, I was always taught that I had to be like brutal and like vicious, and I was like, that's just simply not me. On the ice, I'm a competitor, but off of the ice, these are my interests, and I think that that's okay. I think that femininity is a sliding scale. I think that my version of femininity is going to be different than, you know, the next woman or the next man's version of femininity, and I just want to allow everybody the space to understand that they can be who they want to be. I like hockey. It's not who I am, it's something that I do, but I can also like so many other things, and they can be combined. It's pretty awesome.
The average male professional hockey player is usually asked probing questions about getting pucks in deep or how the power play went. Do you ever get tired of having to answer the kinds of questions I've asked you today about all these bigger issues?
Definitely. 100% I do. But I think that it's been so important because we have to share a story and we have to continue the movement, and it's important for the next generation of female athletes. And so to be able to speak about this is so important. And now being a professional hockey player, I'm seeing the other side of the glass, and I am answering questions about getting pucks in deep and what's going on with our power play and why we're not being successful. Like Toronto media, they're kind of rough. So it's great. I think it's great. Now I get to answer questions about both, and I hope one day, you know, young girls who are in my position are just talking hockey.
Lots of interesting insights in your book, Donovan, about your connection to Jamaica. And one of the things you said, which had never occurred to me till I read it, is how different it was for you to be, the experience of being black in Jamaica is so different than it is, thank you, in Canada.
Jerk chicken.
Ah, nice. Jerk chicken, of course.
And our curry goat.
Curry goat.
Paired up with jasmine rice and a mango chutney.
All right, thank you.
My parents are going to be so jealous when they see the curried goat, but anyway.
Yes.
But let's talk a little bit about that. And you write about it, about the difference of being black in Jamaica as opposed to being black in Canada or the United States.
Well, you know what? I think that maybe because we're Canadians, we're talking about being black. I think that coming from Jamaica, I never felt like or acted like a minority. Because, you know, every single person that I saw on any level of society, whether or not it's the lawyer, doctor, prime minister, you know, or you know, restaurant person, someone on the street, you know, there was no limitations to what it is my dreams were because of what I saw. So when I got here, it was it was a little weird at first to look at how people are portrayed, to look at how things were, and so in some way, sometimes when I saw people portrayed in negative ways, it definitely affected me. I mean, you know, it's funny because my friends and I, a lot of my friends and I mean, I was talking, you know, to one of you know, one of the great journalists, Dwight Drummond. We're talking about when you're watching the news and you hear about something bad happening, and you're sitting down from you're very small as a parent, you know, with your parents. There'd be the conversation, oh man, something is wrong. Somebody did something wrong. And then your parents are literally saying, oh my God, I hope to God that they're not black or they're not brown or they're not from, you know, our community. So it was very, very, very different to adjust to that when I just got there as a child.
So here we are, Robson Square, in the heart of Vancouver, and you literally had a moment here that changed everything.
Yeah, so right in front of the art gallery over here was where I started breaking. There was the local crew Now or Never. They were performing right there. I was standing right here, saw them for the first time. And then actually right below is Robson Square, which for a very long time was kind of like my second home. It's the hub of the street dance community, or at least it was for a very long time. So I remember going there most nights, training, practicing like late into the night, even when I was in school.
And so when you told your parents about this passion you had for breaking, what was their reaction?
Initially, they were okay with it. I think when I wanted to do it as a career, it changed a little bit because just out of worry, out of love, they wanted me to pursue something that was a little bit more stable. But in the beginning, they were super supportive. They loved and could see, I think, the passion from an early age.
So let's talk a little bit more about pursuing it as your job, basically.
Yeah.
not surprised that your parents would worry for you. Like, it doesn't really seem like the kind of, that there would be a career in that.
Yeah, I think I got lucky, especially now, like looking back, but at the time it was very difficult. My parents were always extremely supportive. It was just, again, it was out of love that they were worried for me. And also my parents immigrated here from Korea. You know, they gave up their lives to give us a different opportunity. My brothers went to school, and then I'm the one that kind of goes and wants to be a breakdancer. So I think for the first few years especially, it was very difficult for them. But I think just society as a whole, that like breaking isn't something that's a viable career. And so with breaking going to the Olympics, a goal for me really is to change that narrative as well.
We have much more ahead, including Seth Rogen on when he knew he'd be chasing a career in comedy.
We actually started like writing like a script when we were like 13 or 14 years old.
Plus, the founder of Yuck Yucks on why there are no boundaries for comedians on his stage. Here's more Canadian talent that found its way to the top.
It was like really lucky.
As he built his comedy empire, the audience was the censor.
We wouldn't promote somebody who didn't get laughs.
And she won a Grammy alongside her idol.
She said, Canadian girls taking over, you know.
With Canada Day just hours away, here's some more reflections on success from Canadians who have made a difference.
And yeah, I was not cool at high school. Again, I wasn't that bad, but I wasn't. I was really firmly in the middle. And when you tell kids in your high school you do stand-up comedy, that doesn't sound cool. That's not like traditionally cool.
But it gets better. You didn't just do stand-up comedy, you did improv.
I also did two of the coolest things.
And drama.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the only thing you were missing was band.
Exactly. We didn't have that in our high school. I probably would have done it. Yeah, so I did stand-up comedy. I think people were kind of fascinated by it, but it did not earn me like social cachet by any stretch of the imagination, no.
High school quarterback, stand-up comic.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Superbad, of course, the movie that you and your longtime friend, longtime creative collaborator, Evan Goldberg.
Yeah.
I mean, did you guys actually, were you writing notes for it while you were at Point Grey?
We were like writing the script while we were at Point Grey. Like we met in bar mitzvah class when we were 12, and then we knew we were going to go to high school together, and we knew we were going to go to Point Grey. And I had was starting to do stand-up comedy around that time, and Evan wrote like comedic short stories. Oh. And when you're like a kid who's creative and into a certain thing, and you find another kid who's like the only other kid you ever met who's like into that thing, it was like really lucky. And then our high school, Point Grey, was across the street from two video stores. There was a Blockbuster and a Rogers, literally right across the street. And they had this thing where you could rent 5 movies for 5 days for $5. And so every weekend we would rent 5 movies and watch them. And the thing we would do more than anything, like we would spend more time doing this than actually watching the movies, just walking around the video store, looking at movies, talking about movies. What should we watch? Should we watch this? Reading the movies, the back of the box, all this stuff. And so then we became obsessed with movies. And then so this idea to write Superbad, like to turn our high school experiences into a movie, like developed pretty quick. We actually started like writing like a script when we were like 13 or 14 years old.
So I love the idea of being able to say what I wanted to say, when I wanted to say it. That's why we've never believed in censorship at my clubs.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a moment. You famously or infamously, you don't believe in censorship, but is there a line that you would not allow one of your comics to cross?
Absolutely not.
So a comic could come up here on amateur night and make a joke about the Holocaust?
Sure.
Really?
Of course. Well, you're forgetting the fact that, I don't know when it was, but we did a festival of Holocaust jokes very early on.
I did not know that. Are you serious?
Yeah, it's not exactly a famous thing. But sick humor is what you need for a sick society, for a sick culture. And I do believe that the culture we live in is kind of sick. And the only response to it is to own that sickness.
And so what if the comedy seemed to be
hateful or like made fun of people who were sitting here and made them uncomfortable.
You're talking about my act now. It all depends on the audience laughing. If the audience doesn't laugh, then it doesn't go on stage for very long. We wouldn't promote somebody who didn't get laughs. The audience does not come here to hate. The audience comes here to laugh. So, you know, the audience has the ability to censor the acts by either not laughing or laughing. And if they're laughing, it's probably within the realm of acceptability.
A Canadian inspiration that might fit better in people's minds for you than Kids in the Hall is Joni Mitchell, who inspired you, and I can't imagine how many ways, but including to pick up the clarinet.
Clarinet, yes. So my mom was very young when she had me. She was a teenager and in her late teens. And Joni Mitchell is her favorite artist. She is from Saskatchewan herself, from Saskatoon as well. And I've had many wonderful conversations with Joni about Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And my mom just loved all of her oeuvre and would listen to her albums on repeat. And when I was in foster care, I would get, I think it was a monthly visitation with my mom, and we would meet at my grandmother's house. And my grandma had this lovely upright piano. My mom's a beautiful pianist. And one of my earliest memories, I was probably 2, maybe 3, was hiding under that piano and listening to my mom. She would play along with Joni Mitchell's records. And she was playing the album Ladies of the Canyon. And there's a deeper cut on that album called For Free. And it's about a busker. Joni is singing about a busker.
And he played real good on his clarinet for free.
At the end of it, there's this beautiful clarinet coda. And I remember being electrified hearing that sound of the clarinet for the first time. Seeing my mom's feet on the pedals and her hands on the keys, and I was kind of sitting under the piano, and it really imprinted. And so eventually I picked up the clarinet. I became a clarinetist years later. Brandy Carlisle invites me to be part of the Joni Jam at Newport, and Joni just won a Grammy for that record, that album, Joni at Newport, live at Newport, and which I'm on, playing clarinet with the woman who introduced me to the clarinet in the first place.
I mean,
yeah.
I can't imagine what that's like to have somebody who inspires so many, but inspired you, and then to be playing with her.
It was one of the most surreal, like a fever dream. I felt like I was in a fever dream. Can this possibly be my life? But also so natural and joyful. There's this familiarity too, and she loves that she came into the room at the premiere ceremony just as I won for Eve Was Black. And when I saw her after she won her award for Best Folk Album, she said, "Canadian girls taking over." You know, it was like she's proud of me too. So that there's something just ineffably joyful about it all to me, and incredibly resonant. And I don't know, it's like rearranged my molecules, and I'll never get over it.
That is just a sampling of some of the extraordinary Canadians we've been interviewing here on Sunday nights on The National. You can find the entire interviews from those excerpts by going to our YouTube page or just searching my last name and the last name of the person that I interview. Coming up, a marathon swimmer takes on a 60-hour session.
You are just completely sleep deprived as well, hallucinating, hypothermia setting in.
The incredible feat in the Yukon River is next in our moment. This is British ultra-marathon swimmer Ross Edgley, moments after finishing a 510-kilometer swim in the Yukon River. Tired, but smiling nonetheless. That swim was Edgley's attempt at breaking the record for the longest non-stop swim, and it turned out Canada's North was the perfect place to give it a shot. Tonight, his incredible performance makes our moment.
This is what happens when you swim for 60 hours.
Yeah.
What was the total distance in the end, Chris?
But we're 510 kilometers.
Right.
I always had this idea of attempting the world record for a non-stop continuous swim.
Thank you.
You don't sleep, you don't touch the boat, you don't touch land. I was just blindly optimistic. It was brutal. The water at the start was 8 degrees. When you are just completely sleep deprived as well, hallucinating, hypothermia setting in, but all of that, it doesn't matter. You end up seeing just some incredible thing. There's wolf tracks to the left, there's a black bear to your right. On the second morning, we got this like insane sunrise. I've never seen colors like it.
We can put him in here and bring him down.
It was such a mix of emotions, relief, celebration, just happiness, joy with the team, all of those things just wrapped into one.
You know, you can hear the numbers, the length, the hours, but it's, I don't know, I find it kind of impossible to comprehend. It turns out Yukon River was a perfect place in terms of current, temperature, bacteria, and he did, of course, set the record. Thank you for being with us. You can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to the National's YouTube channel. I'm Ian Hannah-Mansing in Vancouver. Good night.